Good evening. I'm Flynn.
I'm Lucky.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Xander.
Today, we will be presenting the recommendations we feel are best fit to implement at King Jewel. When confronted with this crisis, there were many question marks surrounding the leadership and control at King Jewel. Hence why we feel our recommendations will help improve this and allow King Jewel to move past this issue and begin rebuilding their reputation. The first recommendation to find a solution for the leadership issue is having multiple leaders present. And for the control solution, it will be implementing a stronger corporate governance structure. I'll now pass over to Lockie, who will give us a description of the leadership recommendation and an insight into how this task will be carried out.
This method relates to King Jewel's hiring 2 leaders in an attempt to make the workforce a more efficient and effective environment. Having co-leaders will ensure there is no corruption, as well as minimizing problems/conflicts, which will result in them being able to be resolved more smoothly. Co-leaders will hopefully resolve the issues that occur at King Jewel due to issues such as when Y's brother was failing to check the quality properly. How? The task will be carried out through a job interview process. As Y is the current person in charge, Andy Wong, the CEO, should consult her and ask her for her skills/personnel she would want by her side. For an example, a leader that fulfills one of the transactional, charismatic, or transformational style that Y herself doesn't possess would be necessary for King Jewel. King Jewel will then decide whether poaching certain people in other businesses that fit their demographic is the right option, or they can advertise the availability of the job. Poaching other people would mean they would need to hire a recruitment team, which can allow a top-tier person to be lured to King Jewel. However, this can prove costly for the business. This comes down to their financial state as well as their knowledge on other business/employees. After this decision, Wong will have to ensure he's planned how the new co-leaders' roles will look like. When this is being dealt with, Y must be consulted about the changes to ensure she is notified and aware of who the new person is and what their new role will look like after employment. I'll now hand it back to Flynn.
Thanks, Lockie. I will now continue by outlining who will be carrying out this change. Founder and CEO of King Jewel, Andy Wong, will be in charge of conducting a leadership review and conducting job interviews. Being the founder, Wong is the most trustworthy person at the organisation, and after his business has had its reputation fractured, he will be the one to run the change. He will also hire new employees whilst overseeing the operation in place and determining after 6 months if it is worth continuing. The next aspect of this change is where and when it will occur. It will begin by Wong conducting interviews for job applicants, and from there he will determine how many people he may want to hire. It may be one or multiple. After the new appointment of staff members, there will be a 6-month implementation process. This is where Wong will review the leadership style in action and how they get along with Y. After this 6-month period is complete, Wong will conclude how successful it was and if it is worth keeping. Having multiple leaders can be financially risky, especially if not implemented correctly. After the 6-month process and job interviews is complete, if it is not successful, it can be a time-wasting process. This can disadvantage King Jewel as it takes time and effort away from other important aspects of the business. It can also be financially costly to promote publicly through advertisements, for example, that they are looking to hire new employees. Finally, if the new 6-month induction process fails, it can be a waste of money, paying that employee's wage. When going through a financially risky process, one will need to determine the risks and if it is worth it. Some potential problems of the implementation is in the co-leaders may clash on the leadership styles they prefer to run. This can result in an internal conflict within King Jewels. Having multiple leaders will also confuse employees, as they may get mixed messages about what's expected of them. The co-leaders may also lack in similar traits, which can cause a greater downfall within the business as they are not correcting each other's mistakes. Finally, Y may not feel valued anymore at King Jewels after another leader after having another leader beside her, which can make her fall out of love with the job after 7 years of being loyal to Wong. I'll now pass over to Xander and Nicholas, who will present the recommendations for the control issue.
Thanks, Flynn. King Jewel did not have strong corporate governance and internal controls within their operations, which resulted in some senior staff members engaging in unethical misconduct without being detected by management. A recommendation to nullify this issue is to construct a specific set of rules and regulations that educate employees on how to behave in the workplace so that these issues do not occur again. And when and if they do, they can be disciplined according to their actions with no favoritism and every employee treated the same way. I will now pass over to Nicholas.
Thanks, Xander. How will the task be carried out? To effectively prevent unethical misconduct at King Jewel's for the future, it is crucial to establish a strong corporate governance structure and comprehensive internal controls. Corporate governance ensures transparency, fairness, and accountability, while internal controls protect assets and ensure operational efficiency. Who will be in charge of carrying it out? King Jewel's will need to establish an independent board of directors to oversee ethical conduct. This will be carried out by Andy Wong, HR Department, and an independent nominating committee who will work together to select board members with expertise in ethics and compliance. This process will occur over the next 6 months at the company headquarters. While this endeavour will require legal and requirement expenses, it will ensure that the board remains impartial and dedicated to upholding ethical standards, instituting a well-defined code of conduct. To further solidify commitment to ethical conduct, the Compliance Department will collaborate with the Legal and HR Department to create and distribute a comprehensive code of conduct. This code will be developed and distributed electronically to all employees over the next 3 months. The associated costs will include legal consultation, design, and distribution, ensuring that all employees are aware of the ethical standards they must adhere to. Establishing an impartial internal audit function. A robust internal audit department will be established to monitor compliance and ensure the effectiveness of our ethical measures. The Finance Department, in collaboration with external auditors, will be responsible for creating this function, which will become fully operational within the next 12 months. This will require expenses related to hiring and training internal auditors, as well as the acquisition of audit software and technology, providing regular ethics training for employees. HR and the ethics compliance team will collaborate to develop and conduct ongoing ethics training programs for all employees at various company locations over the next year. Costs associated with this initiative will include training materials, trainers' fees, and facilities for conducting training sessions. This ensures that employees are well versed in ethical standards and practices, fostering a culture of transparency and ethical conduct within King Jewel. Potential drawbacks. The implementation of stronger corporate governance holds potential drawbacks that must be considered, including potential resistance to change from existing management or employees, legal and compliance challenges in establishing a whistleblowing system, the need to ensure the independence and integrity of the board of directors, financial strain associated with cost management, the requirement for effective communication and employee compliance with the code of conduct, and the challenge of promptly and fairly addressing issues raised through the whistleblowing system. To ensure the success of these initiatives, King Jewel's must proactively address these potential challenges. I will now pass it to Flynn.
Thanks, Nick. Having these recommendations in place will help King Jewel work towards being a proud and high-quality organisation again. After failing to have successful leaders in control over the business in the past, introducing their solutions can help rebuild trust and work towards making ethical decisions and finally gaining back that high-valued reputation, not only for the individual, but for King Jewel and the overall success of the organisation. Thank you for listening.